risking it all. Yeah, I don't ever fall. Yeah, but if I do, I get back up, stand tall. Yeah, I want it all. Yeah, a good life, yeah, small life, yeah. I'ma be big one day. Take it all runway. My name up in light someday. Looking at a girl that loves me. Yeah, I came here to play. Yeah, I came here to play.
I don't stop, I keep moving. Just watch me as I prove it. I'm telling you, I never let go. Fuck what I'm sure. I create the microphone now, and no one can do that.
the chase, I love the chase. I set the pace when I'm running. I always stay when I want it. I always give it 100. Don't need a bank, don't need it. Play the game like it's nothing. I'm always thinking, I'm always don't take for granted. Stay humble. Now wake up, it's time to look at the enemy. Look in the mirror if he is no friend of me. It's not working out, maybe it's the chemistry. It's the chemistry. God knows I can make a better me. Better believe in your mind, 'cause it's everything. You can mold, shape, find almost anything. All it takes is some time and some clarity to find your identity. It's mine over everything. And when I feel like this, I'm harder. When I feel like this, I'm harder. When I feel like this, I'm harder. When I feel like this, I'm
All right. Happy Tuesday, everyone. Happy Tuesday, everyone. Cal, we are in.
I am Tyler.
Week 12 of this show, my man. It's actually kind of crazy. I was looking
week 12
at our channel.
Of this show, my man.
It's actually kind of crazy. I was looking at our channel during the intro there. It's actually kind of crazy to look back and see how consistently we've done. It's actually kind of crazy to look back and see how consistently we've done this.
We have not run into a crossroad yet where you have to cancel, which is like huge.
It's awesome.
It's not easy to like keep doing week after week and stay to that, stay consistent. Awesome. But like, you've done a great job just like keeping us on the course. So yeah, it has not felt like we've done that many episodes, but it makes sense that we have it.
Well, I'd certainly not all credit to me shared across the board. I'd certainly not all I don't think this probably happens at all if I'm sitting here talking about myself. I don't think this probably happens at all if I'm sitting here talking about myself for 30 or 45 minutes. But yeah, so we're in it tonight. We got but yeah, so we're in it tonight. We got some standings, power rankings, interesting and standings, power rankings stuff about next week, and it'll be interesting. We'll obviously talk about
Alan's
next
got,
week, and Alan Sanders some kind of
it'll
be
be
interesting. Alan Sanders some kind of echo. Alan, who actually let's try that. Because for some reason I think it might be better now. Alan, let us know. For some reason it looks like my camera was picking up audio. I think so. Hopefully that is not. Yeah, I think that's better now. Okay, I'm checking on it. Alan, let me know, or Adam, let me know if that's better. But anyway, so we got that, but then we're ending with a new tier list on your end. Yes. So let's get into it. We'll move over. Let me share my screen here. So we'll move over to the power rankings for this week. And I'll kind of let you start off with the point, or the maybe your first point that you had.
Yeah, sure. Number one. Giants coming out absolutely swinging this week. They go 3-0 against some heavy competition. They put up 365 against the Cardinals. Cardinals had a great week in their own right, but they put up 329 against the Giants. Not enough to overtake them. Blue Jays come out of nowhere. Gary's cooking up something after all these deals, putting up 333 points. Still not enough to beat the Giants. And Giants even beat the Angels of all. I mean, I couldn't believe it. So, heck of a strong 3-0 week for the Giants team. Yeah,
that's nuts. And obviously, Rourke continues to have success. It's an NL beast out west, that is for sure. But yeah, and I, honestly, speaking of Jeff, he also played me last week, and we both were talking earlier on in the week about how much of a struggle it was going to be because of our starting pitchers. I think it was either on Tuesday or Wednesday, of last week, he had 5 starting pitchers go, and he had only scored 125 points or something like that. Which is crazy, and you'd think like, oh, it must have been a good week for me to pull off a win. Well, right. I have 5 starting pitchers on the IL right now, so I only had 3 starts all week last week. So I certainly struggled. Jeff's bats, came along and helped him get the win there. But yeah, because of that kind of week for me, and because of the spot I'm in with my starting pitchers right now, it's not looking good. I dropped 3 spots, still hanging on just barely in the top 10, but yeah, I dropped 3 spots as well.
Yeah, and next on my list here, we're kind of going ALNO a little bit because I'm going to keep with the old Cubbies with another 3-0 storyline that we're following here. Cubbies put up 336 points, taking down the Marlins, Reds, and Rays. Maybe not the strongest of competitions. Marlins are definitely on the stronger end of teams that are kind of buying in. They're probably a team that was trying to overthrow the Cubs in this playoff race. They're probably not going to be division winners, either one of these teams. So Cubs with a strong show of force this week was pretty huge, I think.
Yeah, no, I agree. And Frank continues chugging along, right? I mean, he's got pieces to where any given week, that coin flip, right? Any given week, who knows?
A dang coin flip always gets you.
Yeah. My next highlight was the Mariners, who, again, sticking with the 3-0 theme that we have, they went 3-0, but they dropped 4 spots. In the ranks, and I didn't even mention I went 2-1, so I lost to Jeff, but had a couple of other easier matchups that I won, thankfully. But yeah, the Mariners go 3-0, but they dropped 4 spots, and mainly because they had by far and away the lowest strength of schedule last week. So they did go 3-0, but and obviously Seth was complaining a lot especially at the end of the week about his matchup. But end of the day, he goes 3-0, but does drop those 4 spots again just because not only did he not necessarily score super well, but didn't obviously have a hard matchups in any way, shape, or form either. So that was a big takeaway.
Yeah, and my final piece was probably the storyline, the shakeup of the week would have been something I was looking at last week as a series to watch, and it's all the Mets games. Mets are facing the Nationals, Marlins, Dodgers. That was going to be a very difficult 3-0 week for the Mets. They did not pull it off because the Dodgers put up 370.
Crazy.
Which is, what a wild week.
Yep.
The fact that the Giants had that strong of a week and would have still lost the Dodgers, everyone's got work to do. Mets definitely have. They've improved greatly. They almost put up a 3-0. Any other week probably would have been 3-0. But still, overtaking the Phillies in the NL East is a huge storyline for this Mets team. They were kind of middling about. Adam was running away with it. Looked like all of a sudden here come the Mets, and now they're in first place. They have not. I think they lost 1 game since in June.
Jeez,
so they've been absolutely on fire.
That's crazy. Yeah, I mean, it's been a meteoric rise in a sense, and obviously he's done a ton with that team, right? So it would make sense that he should continue to rise. But yeah, and I think the conversation surrounding how much of it is the Mets rise versus the Phillies fall, maybe,
almost.
It's really after Adam had, I think it was those couple of weeks where he hit like 400 or something like that, or some kind of nuts, crazy scores a couple weeks in a row, leading the league, was number 1 in the power rankings. He's definitely plateaued and fallen off. I mean, it obviously shows he's down to obviously 7th in the power rankings now too. So, and then my last kind of take away from power rankings, standings, that kind of stuff, was just kind of looking at the playoff picture. And it kind of looks right now that in the AL at least, it's probably down to Steven and myself. He's at 29-7. I'm at 28-8. A lot of that depends on if I continue to hopefully score enough points to get wins and then get some starting pitchers back. If I don't, there's a very good chance Steven will just run away with the AL and he'll be number 1 seed for sure. Really, the only reason I say that is because John and Seth, who are in the 3 and 4 spot, they're 4 games back of me right now. So decent amount of work to be done still, but plenty of weeks, plenty of time. Trade deadline hasn't passed, right? So who knows? And then on the NL side of things, obviously there's tons of competition, right? There's only a 4-game difference between first and 9th in the overall standings, and that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 NL teams. So 7 NL teams within 4 games of each other. A lot can happen over the next however many weeks. So pretty crazy stuff, but
it's fun.
Yeah,
I mean,
it is.
I'm glad it's that instead of just top heavy and just a boring race. So yeah, that's pretty fun.
That's why we do it, right? That's why we do it. I think it'll be interesting too. One stat I've kind of been paying a little more attention to now that we've gotten farther into the season is just the divisional standings or the divisional record against your opponents and stuff. So it's really interesting to look at the teams that are kind of at the top of the standings here and just kind of see how they're doing against their division specifically. So interesting stuff. But anyway, let's move on to some transaction news. I know when we were kind of talking about things beforehand that you felt there was really only one thing that was probably worth talking about in a sense.
Yeah.
And so I'll kind of let you go ahead and talk about it since it includes me.
Yeah. So I mean, this is a prototypical buy. I mean, this is you acquiring an older Darvish. You get Abrams, which I mean, I really do like Abrams a lot. I think that's still solid for you. He is expiring contract. Not much you can really do with him anyways. But it's exactly what you need. But you're giving up like a bat like DeVry, which I understand he's probably slumping big time. So I was wondering how are you feeling about it to the point where you're like, I think I got to sell just to at least do a push for this year.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it was something where I have had so many talks with so many teams, you included in this league, and just was never able to kind of find a price that worked for both parties. And I'm always someone who I am 100% okay if someone tells me like, hey, your price is fucked up. I'm not on the same page as you, etc. And I'm the exact same way that if the asking price, on my end or on the other person's end is too high, I'm okay saying, you know what, I'm gonna hang off for now. So it doesn't phase me necessarily, but when I reached out to Greg, because I know he had made a post about his 2024s, I said, oh, maybe this will be an opportunity where I can hopefully sell DeVries in at least for enough, right? And then potentially get some value back. So I'm excited about Santander to at least have him as a possible first baseman outfielder next year. I obviously have CES as well, so it'll be an interesting dynamic there. But yeah, the other guys are really all 2024s, and they're good names. They're having good years, but that was kind of my hope. I was okay giving up maybe one top guy, a couple other prospects, moving a guy like Perkins who's having a pretty good year. So that I could get some higher end 2024s and not really have much more of a commitment. So I'm hoping Darvish is okay. He mentioned that earlier on as well. He's one of the 5 guys. He was supposed to start tonight, and now he's not because of some elbow thing. They're saying it's maybe dealing with the same thing like the bone spur that he had a while back. So I don't know exactly what's all going to come of that, but we'll see. But yeah, other than that, I mean, all 3 specs I moved. I liked Coffey and Ford are really good. Coffey was a close ETA guy potentially for Boston. I know they've talked about potentially giving him a look in some capacity. And then Ford's your kind of prototypical starting pitcher that a lot of people kind of look at and like, despite him not having a great year this year so far.
Yeah, I'd say Greg has to be pretty happy with the return. I mean, it's pretty solid upside. Again, you're really banking on DeVry to kind of bring home most of the profit. But I still like DeVry going into the season. He was definitely on my list going into the draft. But it was one of those guys I just never really had a shot at to begin with. So when you got him, I was like, that makes total sense. I did not think you would deal him this year. I thought it'd be something that you'd hold on to. So that was definitely surprised to see that name dropped. Yeah. But this is definitely a move that had to be done. I don't think this is a move necessarily for you within your division or even within your league. I think this is you for the NL more than anything. Yeah. Trying to stave that off because it's an uphill battle. It really is.
Totally.
So, yeah, definitely necessary.
Yep, 100% agree. Couldn't agree more. Alan just was posting in a chat. He said some insider knowledge. The Padres did not get a ton of bites on those guys. Only about 4 to 5 teams total, which honestly doesn't surprise me. I would imagine just based on the number of posts that are in the On the Block channel on a daily, weekly basis, compared to the number of trades that actually happen, it doesn't seem like there's a lot of interest across the board. And I don't know if that's because of what I was kind of mentioning earlier with just prices being off, right, between owners, or if it's something a little different. I'm not sure, but But do you have any thoughts kind of on that? Because it doesn't surprise me that only 4 or 5 teams maybe reached out, and my assumption is most of them were not offering a guy like DeVries, right, for some of them. So
correct. That's the kicker, I think. I don't know, especially as a team that was a seller. Honestly, I wasn't getting very many bites either on my guys. Like, I was pretty happy to get the returns that I got for who they were. Because I think most of the guys I dealt were 2024s, and the only one that wasn't was Baz, and that was that was me just making a judgment call as far as his future. So yeah, being a seller was a lot more difficult this year than in years past, but I feel like I got a better return this year than in years past. So honestly, I don't know. Basically, I don't know what I'm talking about.
Interesting.
It's like that's where it comes down to. Because I looked at other deals, I'm like, see, I would have thought that would have gotten more. Like I think it was a judge deal. I think was fair, but that still in years past would have gotten more. There was tons of obvious sells that were being sold off, like bigger bats than I could have ever offered for my sellers, that I don't think got as good of a return as they would have. So honestly, I've had good luck from my standpoint, but yeah, seller kind of sucks this year. I mean, a buyer sucks too, because I don't need like, I guess if I'm buying an Abrams or a Darvish, it's not going to be a huge impact on my team. Like say a Judge, it's not going to be even comparable. But the prices are almost similar. So that's what I was totally thrown off.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Is it's like, I have tended in the past couple of years, I've tended to value contract status almost as important as anything else, like how much the contract is, who the player is, etc. Simply because, and that's kind of why when Greg posted about his 2024s, I was like, let's see who he's got. I'll take anyone who's a decent contributor. And when I saw obviously the names that he had as 2024s, I was like, this is the kind of deal that I feel like I can at least offer a little bit of value, right? He's obviously getting much more long-term value in this deal than I am. Sure. Theoretically, if 2 of those guys, especially if one of them is DeVries or the guy he picks in the second round hits for him, he wins this deal probably bar none, because there's no guarantee I win anything with these guys given the teams at the top, right? So it's very, very interesting, but it's something that I'm okay with too, because it gives me a clean slate going into next year. I probably wouldn't take Finnegan into next year. Maybe I would. I'm not, based on his price, I'm not sure. Darvish, I wouldn't take, and Abrams, I certainly would, obviously. Yeah, definitely. But yeah, outside of that, it's very interesting. The 2024s are make it interesting. But then I'll throw this question at you too. So for the most part, we have talked about kind of the higher end trades, right? The guys with the bigger names, higher end MLB players. To me, a lot of times, I feel like some of the trades that could and should happen across the league should deal with the everyday guys, and not like maybe they are everyday players, but they're for a Twins reference, they're the Trevor Larnachs of the world, the Max Keplers of the world, right? Like, I would love to have guys on my team who are just consistently playing, which I think is something that a lot of teams struggle with, right? It's like filling a lineup every single day with guys that are starting. So yeah, I don't know. It's very interesting. And then you talk about
which I think
pitchers, batters,
exactly what you're talking about happened a little later on in the week. I have it on Sunday. It was Rangers dealing Urshela and like a block to the Orioles.
Yeah,
I mean, that is needed.
Yeah,
Urshela is a 3-position player.
Yep,
he gets consistent enough ABs. I mean, the OPS kind of sucks. I don't know what's going on there because he's hitting 253.
Yeah,
so it's there's something's not adding up.
Yeah,
OPS is 614, which is just, again, it's not really adding up. He should be like in the 700s, but I don't know what's going on there.
Yeah,
but no, that's a guy, that's a bat that's in lineup every day at positions that you need for depth.
Yep,
that's exactly what the kind of deal you need to be making now.
Yeah,
if you're a team like Steven or even you, they're trying to make a push and get that depth. And
again, it gives the multi-eligibility is such a big deal, right? To be able to have a guy in there. Yeah, it's huge. So anyway, very interesting stuff. Nothing too crazy on the wire adding side of things either. A couple of guys. I think Garrett Hampson was a waiver wire pickup for someone this week. I'll throw his name out there just as a mention. But again, eligibility, right? If he's playing 3 games a week, and he's eligible at 6 positions, it's not a bad pickup. So anyway, all right, let's move on to the current week. Head-to-head schedule here, and then we will go down to...
I don't know. Can you hear the horrible rainstorm going on outside? I hope not.
I cannot.
Okay, cool. This apartment is so freaking loud. And I'm really worried that it's just going to be.
I can't
thunder.
personally,
Okay, cool.
and the fact that Alan and everyone else watching hasn't said anything yet, I have to imagine it's all good. So,
okay, because it's so loud on my end, so that makes me feel a little better. This mic, I think, is doing its job.
We had some nasty stuff come through.
I saw
last night. It wasn't. Thankfully, it didn't hit the cities. It stayed north, but Wisconsin got destroyed. It was one of the strongest storms that's come through the region in a while. But anyway, all right. So moving on to current week preview. I'll let you. You got one more thing to comment on than I do, so I'll let you start.
Oh shoot. Okay, yeah. All right, let's take a peek here. So we're going into the current week. Let me just shift over my my teams here. Starting off card. So number one is we brought up the Cardinals earlier. I'm gonna bring up the Cardinals again. They're on my list here. So Cards taking on their division rivals, the Pirates and the Cubbies. Definitely two teams that I think Pirates and Cubs are currently tied, only a few games back from the Cardinals. So at least just like keeping them back for at least one week is going to be helpful. Just give them some breathing room there. Cardinals, I think, are off to a pretty decent start, if I recall. I'm trying to scroll here.
They were a top
63 points.
Right?
I mean, they're pretty close with the Cubs right now.
Yep.
Pirates are in striking distance. They're all kind of close ball games at the moment.
Yep.
So, again, it's a coin flip, but I still would assume that Jeff could have a pretty strong 3-0 week. Again, is facing the A's as well on top of that. So he's got his work cut out for him this week. It's definitely one to watch.
It's the same conversation we had about the Giants last week, right? Like, big week, guys need to show up. If Jeff has 5 starting pitchers only score 125 points in the first few days, he's probably not going to have a very fun week. But sure. my assumption will be that will not be the case. But okay, so my first thing that I kind of noticed was looking at the Royals. So my two kind of previews are on teams that are maybe in the AL, just on the outside of the playoffs, potentially looking in, looking out, etc. So talking about the Royals first, they are on the verge of the playoffs, but they have a tough week this week. They got the Dodgers, they got the Yankees, which we're probably looking at an 0-2 unless Brendan pulls off a bigger week. And then he's got Allen and the Rockies, who we've seen can put up points. And if again they go 0-3, I'm gonna pull up the.
Yeah, Royals are kind of like that last team of that playoff caliber, So if they go 0, if they get dusted this week, the Rockies I think are on the outside looking in as well.
Yep, correct.
In their own league. So, definitely a huge week that Royals probably need to at least get together for one strong push this week.
Yeah, and I'm trying to remember. Do we have 8 teams that make it in?
I think it's 8 per.
Right.
So I'm not doing the math on where the Rockies fit in there, but Royals currently definitely fit in there.
Yep. So he's at 19 and 17, and really the only team right now within striking distance is Tampa at 14 and 22, so 5 games back.
Yeah.
Which again, if he goes 0-3, and then I'm talking about Tampa Bay next as a little preview here. If they have a decent week, that could obviously close the gap a lot. But anyway, go ahead and move on to your second.
Yeah, Mets are on fire right now. I think they will continue to be on fire with the Cupcake Week. Honestly, it really depends. I think the toughest matchup will be the Rays that we're going to talk about here in a little bit.
Yep.
But Mets have the Rangers, Reds, and Rays. Like I said, they've been absolutely scorching hot since dump date, essentially.
Yep.
So I do expect to see it continue and kind of extend their lead over the Phils, which I think Phils have kind of a decent week. I did not think to memorize who they were playing, but Phils probably go 2-1. I would imagine this week.
They have. Oh, we talked about actually how they have a couple of harder matchups. They play Seattle, who could certainly beat them, and they play Detroit, who could certainly beat them.
Oh,
and they have Boston, my AL East winners, too. So never know. But okay, then so my second one, talking about Tampa, they have a possible 2-1, 3-0 week, and again, like I said, they're the closest team to Brendan, 5 games out. Kevin multiple times in chat has talked about how if he has some kind of crazy week or something, he could be convinced to be a buyer as opposed to a seller.
Oh, man, I would love to see it.
But yeah, that'd be pretty nuts this week. He has the Reds, and then you as well, the Angels. Not a cupcake game, as you have shown over the past few weeks.
That's true.
Given that you are now you're still sitting at 25 in the power rankings.
I
But
put
then
240 last week. So
I know
you got to clear 240.
That's what I'm saying. You can get there.
I don't know what's going on with this team. But, what the heck?
But then he's got the Mets too. Like you said, Mets have obviously been on fire. If he comes out and beats the Mets, boy, I mean,
that's big.
I don't know. I don't know if you can have a bigger.
Have to buy.
I don't know that you have a bigger bat signal at that point, right?
Yeah.
But yeah,
I will sell to you if you beat me and you beat the Mets. I will absolutely sell at a discount.
I might sell to him. To be honest,
yeah.
At that point, I might
just
even
here.
sell.
Take it. Go. Run with it. See what you can do.
All right.
Final on my list. Do we skip over you?
No. You're good. You're good.
Okay,
you go ahead.
On my end.
No, you're good.
Totally frozen buffered. So okay.
You're good. Go for it.
Last one on my end. I have the Orioles taking on 2 division leaders. They're facing the Giants, which is a tall task as we've already shown.
Yep.
And then I think maybe an AL preview as far as the maybe league champion. We got the Orioles versus the Twins. So then right now, tied at 73 at the moment.
I got 73 points. Did I get some points tonight already?
Looks like you did.
Dang, let's see. Oh, I got 11 from J-Ram tonight already and 7 from
Big.
Springer. Woo.
Huge.
Dude, J-Ram, if he doesn't win MVP this year, my man
rigged.
Is raking.
#rigged.
Right now. Yeah, if I can,
people are saying,
dude,
just
seriously.
him, I think. But
if I can get frickin' George Springer and Randy to hit above the Mendoza line, that would be great.
Huge.
That'd be great.
What happened to those guys?
Dude, it's atrocious. 190 and 191. Holy.
I have Rosarina shares, and it sucks.
God,
it's horrible.
Bad. It is bad. But anyway, all right. So that's it for the week. But last but not least, we got our tier list.
And
let's get
into the freaking news here,
dude. This is the only thing that matters. Let's be honest.
Yes.
I
got to do a disclaimer though. This is
okay.
I think the most important thing.
Okay.
Got off of work today, and rolling in, chilling at home, going through some of the this week's stuff, trying to figure out what my notes are going to be. Realized what today was, and that's tier list week. And I'm like, oh my god, I don't even have tier. I don't have any. I thought it was next week.
Yeah.
I'm freaking out. I'm like debating, telling you, dude, I'm so sorry. I forgot. I'm canceling tier list. I said, no, that's not. The show must go on. So I freaking scrambled.
Let's go.
This may not be the most cohesive, coherent thing I've ever done.
Hey,
but I did it.
You know what? You know what I'm gonna say is that this tier list is better than not having a tier list.
That's what I was thinking too.
And what I'm gonna say is for everyone who's watching right now, we got a decent amount of people watching. For everyone watching, after Cal's tier list just absolutely kicks ass right here, I need every single one of you watching to give him some love in the chat, to give him some love in our Discord, to show him that he is the tier list king. All right.
That is so much pressure.
After
what I just disclaimed.
No pressure at all, because all that I honestly care about is this front picture that's talking about some free medium fries.
Sick.
Brother, I would crush some free fries right now. But
I never thought I'd not do a fries tier list, but
that would have been
if
dope.
we go into our first tier, our front picture is very important.
I love it. Let's do it. First tier.
So yeah,
let's
our
roll.
First tier. Again, I'm just going to assume you've pulled up already.
I do.
This is our Grimace tier. These are teams that are on such hot streaks. This was inspired by the real life Mets current hot streak with Grimace. And after seeing the Mets with 1 loss in June, I'm like, this has to be its own tier.
Crazy.
The supernatural ability to win at this rate has got to be only done by the all-powerful Grimace. And these are some of the teams that are just on absolute tears recently. They've been on tears all year, but these are teams that you just don't want to face. And are definitely there's a higher power at play here when you play these teams, and that would be Grimace.
Yeah, crazy.
That's our first tier. We go into our next tier. This is a little maybe a little rough at the moment, but I'm kind of scorned. I was a big Connor McDavid guy going into this. I've needed him to get that cup, and I thought he had it. The reverse sweep was right there, and it was just taken away from him. It sucked. It hurt to see after all the work that was put into it. I think these teams kind of fit that mold.
Okay.
Sorry, I hate to say this to you.
No,
I debated putting you in here.
It is true.
I was like, you're putting in so much effort, and so are all these teams. These teams are practically division leaders in their own right. NL Central are getting kind of screwed because of the Cardinals here.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, at the end of the day, I don't think they can bring up the big one. They can't bring it home. The great teams.
Yep.
Just can't win the big one.
Yeah.
So yeah, McDavid tier, right of their own.
Yeah.
But we'll go into our next tier. This had a little bit of fervor behind it. This had a little fervor behind it. I had to dial it back. I like wrote out in my head what it meant, and I'm like, I gotta calm down.
This is unfiltered,
Harbaugh,
Cal. This is unfiltered, okay?
So, okay, fair, actually. So, these are frauds. These are just straight up frauds. These are teams that will definitely make the playoffs, but will only ever win it if they cheat.
Oh, I love it.
That's the only way we're going to see them hold the trophy up at the end of the day and take all our money, is if they go do these nasty backdoor deals to get these things done. Maybe they'll say, hey, man, I'll give you $20 through Venmo if you give me your 2024 guy. No. We're not doing that.
Hey, I'm
nasty Harbaugh people.
I'm 100% gonna clip the last 30 seconds, and I'm gonna send it to Brendan every single morning at 6 a.m. when I wake up with my kids, so he can start his day every week knowing that he is labeled as a cheater. I love it. That is such good content. Such good content.
And then, all right, so we have the next. Don't go yet. Did you go yet? Don't go yet.
I did, but I went back. I went back.
Next three tiers are all themed together. This is definitely me last minute. Like, I gotta come up with something here. So, but I'm hoping it's good enough for the public.
Okay.
Next up, we can now go to our next tier. We have our Cerberus tier.
Okay.
These are the three teams, the three-headed monster, that if you go past this point, you have ventured into hell.
Okay.
These teams are just good enough that it's not really ugly yet. But if you are, like I said, if you go anything past this zone, just give up. You're dead. It's over. There's no more hope for you. Your soul is gone. So these teams are the last bastion of hope that we have.
Oh, I bet Alan's gonna love that. He's gonna just his new name is gonna be Colorado, the Last Bastion Rockies. Yeah. I could just see he's gonna change his name to that. It's gonna be genius.
They truly are, because I was thinking about putting Brendan in his own tier because he's like the most like the equilibrium of the league. He keeps us all in balance.
Yep.
You know, because he's perfectly average at the moment.
Yep.
But this three-headed, because they're not bad teams, these three that we have here. And it's just like
not at all.
I looked at everything past them like that. These guys, these teams suck. Not these teams that we're looking at right now. The teams below them suck. So of course, into our next tier, it's obvious what we have. It's the underworld. These are the lost souls. They're just swimming around in the pits of hell, just waiting for the season to be over. It's not. Listen, I'm not having a good time. None of these teams are having a good time. I also debated. I just said no to it, but I was gonna do bad teams that had 3-0 weeks.
Oh, there you go.
But like myself and then the Nationals.
Okay,
that's all it was gonna be.
Yeah.
But I said no, I can't do that. That's too much.
Hey,
so
you
get the underworld.
You have two of my division winners in this tier. It's great. One of them which went 3-0, right? So I mean we're coming. We're coming.
And then we are missing a team though.
We are.
In our final tier, we have Hades himself, the god of the underworld. the one who keeps all souls with him at all times. No one may enter. They will never even see like Cerberus again.
I love it.
Basically, Tom is just our keeper for the rest of the year. he just holds our souls in a vial.
That is great. I will say this about Tom. I am so. I don't know that I've ever been more excited to see a team from one year to the next. I don't think I've ever been more, and mainly because Tom has obviously shown that he is smart and calculated, and obviously knows kind of what he is doing in terms of building his team. I'm very scared that he's in the AL Central because I have to imagine obviously next year, and Mark obviously has some guys kind of that are injured that are going to be coming back potentially for him at cheaper prices next year too. So it's going to be, the AL Central could look very different next year. 100%. So it'll be very, very interesting, but love that analogy.
Yeah, we got to get our shots in while he's down, essentially, because we're not going to be doing this for much longer. So sorry, Tom, but listen, we're just making up for lost time. Essentially, it's going to happen later.
Yeah, I love it. All right, well, the one thing that I'll just kind of leave everyone with in terms of when is the All-Star break? It's in a couple weeks, right? It's usually like mid-July, isn't it? Something like that.
I'm looking up Midsummer Classic because I can't look up All-Star game.
Yeah.
Please faster. Okay, July 16th.
Okay, so
July 16th is the
2 weeks, 3 weeks, 2 weeks.
Oh wow, the All-Star game is on a Tuesday,
which is in 3 weeks. 3 weeks. So why don't let's plan? Let's say tentatively in 3 weeks. It's actually on the 16th. That'll be dope. We can do our All-Star episode during the All-Star break.
At 7 o'clock.
Goodness,
Boom, boom, boom.
Unbelievable.
Fates aligned. The commissioner is in our pocket.
Dude, crazy.
Robo-umps are coming soon, guys.
Yeah, so we'll plan on that. Again, I appreciate you guys talking about some of the stuff in the podcast channel too, just giving us some things to think about. We'll come up with some kind of format. I don't know if we'll release it beforehand or kind of keep it secret. That's probably what we'll do. I'm assuming we'll just kind of do it behind the scenes or do some stuff live or whatever. But we'll let you guys know once we decide to. But outside of that, anything else from you this week, my man?
No, but maybe we should just do it like 2 hours before the show and just throw it all together like the tier list.
Hey, if it comes out as spicy as that just did, I'm down. The only thing that I will say is that we each got to have an order of medium fries while we do it.
Oh man,
that's
I
it.
Go for a medium fry right now and a grimace shake.
I could too. I'm gonna have to go find
poisonous grimace shake.
I say Absolutely. That as I got a fucking gallon-sized bag of pistachios sitting next to me. As a 35-year-old man, I can't eat McDonald's fries anymore.
But here's the thing, though. Pistachios become the new fry. Because, I mean, you just start like, this is healthy, this is healthy. And you just eat half the bag. And you're like, this is still healthy. I should
show you the cup of pistachio shells from last night.
That's what this is, like you're at Texas Roadhouse or something. You
just get to that point. All right, I love it. Absolutely. Well, we will see everyone next week. Really appreciate you hanging out. I'm Tyler. He's Cal. We'll see you all next week. Bye.
See you guys.
Let's go. Better hit the gas for a minute, no cap, no minute, no tack, till I finish that track, till I get it, got my cash on, liquid, never cash my limit, then my fast, my limit, read it back, now I get it, hipping that switches, I'm hipping these bars, I can give these bars, I can give it those bars, these kids, no kidding, I've been winning, no nigga, in my wins, like, you know what I'm hitting on a mission, I'm hitting on a spicy, I know they like me, but I got a white me, but I got a white to me, no one works like me, got a different mindset, but it is spicy, got it is spicy, got a different lifestyle, icy, living like nicey, living like dicey, living divinely, living does wisely, all I know is that, I've been doing no precisely, been around the world for, been around the first class ticket, man, I'm in it, man, I'm winning, I don't have no limit, if I want it, then I get it, if you want it, then I get it, I ain't never done finished, I'ma give it, I've been getting from the case, I've been winning 6 shots, I've been winning, but I still keep ripping, and I still keep ripping, to the waist, I'm spitting all day, and I'm risking it all, I don't ever fall, but if I do, I get back up, stand tall, I want it all, a good life, nothing small, I'ma be big one, I'ma be big, take it off runway, my name up a light someday, looking at a crowd that loves me, I came here to play,
I don't stop, I keep moving. Just watch as I I'm telling you, I never let go. On the show, I could one now, and no one can let go. What I gotta do, prove what I gotta move, choose what I gotta choose, now I gotta lose, I'm the one at the top of the